it's Jen for Love of Iris, and today is day 4 of our envelope punch board tutorial week. And today we're going to use the bow that we made yesterday, and we're going to use it as an embellishment on a matchbox. And this is what it's going to look like. It's a little matchbox. You can put candies in it, or treats, or whatever you want to put in it. So it's just kind of reminds me of a little matchbox. It's got a little holder that you can pull it out with. So for this tutorial, I am going to be using the Cherry on Top DSP. You're going to need 2 pieces of DSP. One is 6x6. One is 3 5/8 by 2 1/4. 3 5/8, 2 1/4, and 6x6. That's the DSP. And then you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock coordinating with your DSP, whatever color or flavor you want. I'm choosing Whisper White, and the bigger piece is going to be 3 3/4. 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then the smaller piece is going to be, it's a wonky number, I'm sorry, 2 3/16. I'm sorry, 2 3/16 by 3 5/8. 2 3/16 by 3 5/8. This is going to be the liner that goes in the tray. In here, when we build the box, you'll see it needs a liner. If you don't want a liner, you can leave it, but I care for the liner. Okay, so let's begin with our 6x6 piece of pattern paper. We're going to bring in the envelope punch board, and for the very first punch, we're going to start at the 2-inch mark. Line it up, punch, and score. Oops, helps if you have the scoring tool out, Jen. Okay, and score. Then you're going to rotate it. I go counterclockwise to the 3, punch, and score. Rotate again counterclockwise to the 2, punch, and score. Rotate one more time to the 3, punch, and score. So now you've got 4 punches and a whole bunch of score lines. So what you want to do now is line up your point with the score lines that are already existing on all 4 sides. So for this first one, it's right here. I know you can see it because I can see it pretty well. So you're going to want to punch and score on that one, and then go ahead and rotate. And then I've already got that one there, so the next one's going to be right here. Line it up, punch and score, rotate counterclockwise, find your score that you have not punched, punch and score, and this is the last side. Rotate it, find the score you haven't punched, punch and score. So your box is going to right now look like this. And that may be all we need the envelope punch board. I'm going to set it aside, but not too far, just in case. Okay, so you have 2 narrow and 2 wide. So I'm just going to go ahead and reinforce my score lines. Oh, we do need the envelope punch board. That's right, I forgot. We need it for one more because we're going to make the little handle thing, the little place to grab, that part right there. So we'll do that. Let me go ahead and reinforce our score lines. I'm just using my bone folder to do that. And just taking all of our lines here. Make sure you give a good crease. Don't be too heavy-handed, because with the pattern paper, if you're too heavy-handed, you could tear it. So let's bring back our envelope punch board one more time. We have one more punch to make. So in order to create this, you're going to take one of the smaller triangles and fold it on the very first score line. And I'm going to fold it backwards so you can get the contrast, so you can see what I'm doing. So you can fold it backwards if it's easier to see. And then line up the end of the triangle, I call it the triangle, at the 1 1/8 mark. Let me zoom in so you can see that. Okay, so what I have done is I have lined up that end of that piece right there at the 1 1/8 mark. And if you look, you can see it's relatively centered in there. And that's what we're going for, is we just want to punch this right there in the center. So we're going to go ahead and punch it, and then we'll remove that. Let me zoom back out so you can see what we're doing. And then you should have something that looks like that. Looks kind of wonky, like a pair of lips. Hello, we're making a matchbox. That's so silly. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take our snail or your fast fuse. I'm probably going to use fast fuse. Actually, we need to cut it first. We can't. I'm jumping ahead. I'm getting so excited. That mouth threw me off. I got excited. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the pieces, these little corners here on either side of the larger triangles, and we're just going to snip from the very bottom to the first score line. From the very bottom to the first score line. So you're just basically creating a little flap right here on either side, okay? And turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. Just like algebra, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other side. Okay, so we're going to cut that. Now we've got our little tabs, okay? So let's go ahead and flip this over, and I'm going to use my fast fuse. You don't need, well, you know what? Maybe I should fold this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and fold it just to make it easier. When we fold the box together, you're going to have some overlap. So take your big triangle and fold it over, and then fold it over again, and go ahead and score that. Or go ahead and reinforce that score line. So it's going to look almost like a party hat. Hey, I like to party. Do y'all like to party? Just so when we build the box, it'll be easier to get that tucked in. So go ahead and do that. And we'll do it on all four sides too, just to make it a little bit easier. So same thing, fold it and then fold it again. And then this one's our lips. Hot lips! Fold it and fold it again. And just reinforce our score. Okay, now we're going to go to the fast fuse. I got excited. So I'm going to take my fast fuse from that. There's 1, 2, 3 score lines. I'm going to take it from the second score line down and just add adhesive on all of the sides from the second score line down on all 4 triangles. Now with our lip side, we're going to have to be careful with that one because it's got our mouth there. We can't mess up our lips. Okay? Oops. Fast fuse is being silly. It wants to fold over on itself. Does y'all ever do that, fold over on itself? I guess I don't have it mounted right or something in here because it wants to be ridiculous when I try to use it sometimes, and I have to roll the wheel. I know it's user error because I can't get it to work right. Okay, alright, we're back in business. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then on each of these flaps, if you want to fold it in and just add a bit of adhesive to that as well. I should probably have my silicone mat. Let me grab that. That way I don't have fast fuse all over the place. Okay, and again, fold that in because you want the adhesive on these flaps to be on the opposite side of the paper. Because when we build our box, you'll see why you need it on the opposite side. Okay. It's a bit finicky, but the end result's real pretty. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is on the small ones, I'm going to go ahead and fold it down and create my edge on the small ones. Okay, so that's that side. And then this side. So now we've got it kind of looking like it's going to start to be a box. And you can see it starting to form. Alright, then what you want to do is you want to make sure your tabs are tucked in. And then fold your big triangle over and let it fall. Okay, and if you want to see, you just line it up here. Right here on the side. And if you want to get the tabs to stick first, you can do that. Get the tabs to stick first so that it's even, and then push your flap down. But if you reinforce those scores like we did a while ago, it'll just fit in there very nicely. Okay, so see, if you're comfortable with that, you don't need the liner at all. If you're not and you're OCD like me, then go ahead and insert that liner. So that's entirely up to you. I can't, that gives me the shingles. It looks like an envelope that wasn't finished, what went through the factory and it didn't get done. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that liner in there, and I'll adhere that down with some fast fuse. And then what we're going to do for the top is we are going to take our larger piece of cardstock, the 3 3/4 by 6 3/4, and we're going to do a little bit of scoring. So I'm going to get out my paper trimmer and get some scoring done. Whoop, let me move you up so you can see. Okay, all right, and it's just 4 very simple scores. You're going to score at 1 1/4. Okay, we're going to score at 2. We're going to score at 4 3/8. And we're going to score at 5 1/8. Okay? Alright, so then you should have a piece of cardstock that's scored. There you go, you can kind of see it. Big and then narrow, big, narrow, and then sort of narrow. This part right here is going to be your top. So what you want to do is you want to take your pattern paper that you have and you want to go ahead and adhere that down now, because if you try to do it after you've built your box, it's going to be a bit finicky. So let's go ahead and take some fast fuse and adhere that down to the front of our box. Okay. And just kind of put it in there somewhat even. All right. And then we're going to reinforce our scores on this as well. Okay. And here and here. And then what we need to do now is we need to take some adhesive and apply it just to this strip right here. That way when we fold our box, we can adhere those two sides together and it will create the lid. So we just want to take a little bit of fast fuse or whatever adhesive you choose, and it doesn't matter what side you put it on. You can put it on either side, but just make sure you do it kind of on the end there. What have I done to my fast fuse? There we go. Just make sure you, and it's best if you go from end to end because you're going to be wrapping it. And then take your tray and put it upside down. I found that works the best. And center it upside down and then fold it with the adhesive side first and then fold it over, and then you'll get a nice match if you match up your cardstock piece there. And then if you need to reinforce it, just slide it out. See, and if you would have not put that paper on there yet, it would be very difficult to try to adhere that at this point. And then we'll put our box in, and then see, now you've got your little handle there you can pull out. And then we'll add our bow, and I think I'm going to use some Tombow to add our bow with that, just because it's dimensional and I don't want to squash it with some fast fuse. So there's my bow. And again, same thing with the bow. If you need to remove the tray so you can get your thumbs under there, because I've got my fingers inside and my thumbs to just kind of give it a little bit of stability, and then slide it back through, and then you've got your cute little matchbox. So I hope you will try this out to create a little matchbox and fill it with lots of treats for somebody special. See you next time. Bye!